with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will.
Canelo lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, you know, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
No way against lesser competition. He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. You know, shout out to the judges. The judges, man.
Andre Ward praises Terence Crawford as one of boxing's greatest finishers, explaining why Canelo Alvarez could be in real danger. Ward highlights Crawford's killer instinct. When he senses weakness, he doesn't allow opponents to recover. Instead, he overwhelms them with sharp combinations, relentless pressure, and flawless timing. Ward stresses that against Crawford, even a single mistake could result in a decisive, devastating ending for Canelo.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you.
Ward also voices admiration for both fighters, emphasizing that this isn't just another payday, it's a legacy fight. 2 champions, already accomplished, are risking it all against one another. For Ward, such matchups elevate boxing, giving fans the rare spectacle of greatness clashing with greatness. He respects the courage and commitment both men are bringing to the ring.
Man, what's up, fight fans? It's official. I'm going to be the 3rd man ringside, calling the Canelo Alvarez Terence Crawford fight September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. I'm excited to be a part of this event. I'm excited to be ringside, calling this great card and this great matchup. Historic event for many, many reasons for both fighters. Super middleweight supremacy on the line, legacies on the line, your namesake and reputation is on the line. And I just take my hat off to both of these fighters for putting everything on the line late in their careers the way that they are. This is rare, and it's becoming more and more rare in boxing. Guys don't want this kind of smoke. They really don't want to face another counterpart that can ruin everything that they've built. And it really don't matter how much money's on the table for a lot of guys. They'd rather take a lesser risk for less money than to risk everything like these 2 fighters are doing. So I take my hat off to them. And I also want to give a shout out to Turkey Al-Sheikh for all that he's done to put this fight on. Dana White for all that he's done to put this fight on. And one more person that stays out the way and you don't really hear a lot about, but that has done a lot to make this fight happen as well. And that's my brother Nick Khan. He just gets stuff done, man, and I want to thank him and shout him out as well for getting this done. So I see y'all in Vegas, man. Part of me wants to be home watching this fight in street clothes. I got to take the street clothes off. I got work to do. I got to put that suit on, get ringside with John and Max, and call this fight like I know we can. Huge event, huge implications, historic night, and I'm happy to be a part. I hope to see you in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. If not,
Robert Garcia weighs in on Canelo's recent form, noting that the Mexican star has looked slower in hand speed and footwork. In Garcia's view, this decline makes Canelo appear less dangerous than in his prime. Against a fighter like Crawford, who thrives on timing and precision, these lapses could be costly. Garcia believes Crawford's speed, angles, and adaptability could turn into decisive advantages if Canelo can't rediscover his sharpness.
Jumping 2 divisions, where he only had 1 fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, you know, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford. But I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. You know, I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for 1 punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure, and yeah, hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
Appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank you
very much.
Teddy Atlas raises concerns about Canelo's training methods. He argues that Canelo may be pushing himself too hard, pointing out his decision to spar with Jaron Ennis as an unnecessary risk. According to Atlas, training smart matters as much as training hard, and overextending in camp could drain Canelo before fight night. Against Crawford, that exhaustion could leave him vulnerable.
So, I avoided that. I would bring in specific sparring partners that knew how to be a sparring partner. Yeah, if I wanted something, I went over to him before the day started. Listen, I want you to do this. All right. I'm paying him. I have the right to do that. I want you to move more today. I want you to, you know what? I want you to press him a little. You know what? There was a fight I was getting a guy ready for, and I was worried about the first couple rounds. So I said, when the bell rings, I want you to rush out of the corner and go right after him. And I was, obviously I had my guy ready because we were getting ready for that kind of fight plan, for the possibility that the opponent would come out that way. So I wouldn't look to get a boots at us. I mean, nothing wrong with that's what they want. That's fine. And I get it, the style, the size, the length. I understand. It's not a bad pick from that point of view. But for me, again, I never go down that road because I got my guy getting ready for a fight. I don't want to leave it in the gym. I don't want to get into that kind of war in the gym. No, I want to have control of all aspects of what the hell I'm doing in the gym to get ready for one night. So no, I wouldn't do that. I'd get the right sparring partners. If I thought I had a guy, I'd get guys that my guy could work with, and if he was having an off day, he could kind of, have his way and do what he wanted with the guy. I'd have one of them. I'd probably have 3 guys, sometimes 4, depending on where we were at, with the calendar when the fight was coming up.
Expanding on this, Atlas warns that Canelo may already be leaving his best performances in the gym. Overly intense sparring might impress spectators, but it risks taking a toll physically and mentally. Fighters only have so much to give, and if those reserves are spent before fight night, the results can be damaging. For Crawford, that could mean facing a diminished version of Canelo.
And a lot has been taken out of you in the gym. You left it in the gym. And we heard that Jaron Boots Ennis was getting the best of Canelo Alvarez in his sparring sessions. That he possibly gave him a black eye. We saw the knot on his head. That was just a week ago. The fight is next week, next Saturday. So 3 weeks out from the fight, and you having this hard sparring sessions with Jaron Boots Ennis, who wants to prove a point. Leave no doubt. Jaron Ennis is going into those sparring sessions not just to be a sparring partner, but to gauge where he stands against a legend and a Hall of Famer and a superstar like Canelo Alvarez, to understand where he can get better and understand that he can actually compete on that level. So make no mistake about it. Jaron Boots Ennis wasn't in there to lay down. Now, he had a job to do. He was there for a specific reason, which is to give Canelo looks that Terence Crawford could possibly give him. But you best believe, in those sparring sessions, he gonna give what he have. He gonna test the waters to see where he stands, right? Not just to help Canelo, not just to be a dummy. There's a reason you bring in a high-profile fighter. And so Teddy Atlas believes this is a huge mistake on Canelo Alvarez's part, because now he has possibly left it in the gym. And now he got to go into battle with Terence Crawford. So it's like having 2 fights in a matter of 3 weeks, and your body's going to show the wear and tear.
Canelo's power remains his greatest weapon, even as his mobility fades. Many opponents approach him cautiously, prioritizing survival over offense, which often leads to long, drawn-out fights. but Crawford excels against overly defensive fighters, using traps, setups, and sudden bursts of offense to break them down. If Canelo relies only on his power to keep Crawford honest, it may not be enough.
I know for sure. I mean, we all see that fucking Canelo got power. That's the same reason why at the same time Canelo ends up going the distance with a lot of these guys, because these guys are just on survival mode, you know? They're not trying to fight back, they're not trying to win, they're just surviving, which is hard to knock somebody out that's just surviving, you know? So I feel like Canelo's power is definitely there. I just think it's just a matter of how Crawford reacts when he feels it, you know? Is he gonna be one of those survivors, or is he gonna actually, you know?
No, I think Crawford will go out on the shield. I think he's gonna fight and go out like a warrior.
At the same time, I feel like he does that, then it gives Canelo a chance to be able to clip him, you know? More of a
well,
chance.
Turkey said no more Tom and Jerry. I don't expect him to run.
I mean, I don't expect him to run, but at the same time, it's boxing, you know? It's boxing, it's hit and don't get hit, swim and not get
Is
wet,
that what
you know?
Haney did when he fought Jose
No,
Ramirez?
but that's a different type of.
Is that what William Cole did when he fought Canelo?
Yeah, you see, that's. I feel like it just. I feel like when you watch Bivol versus Betterby, the second fight, that's great boxing right there.
Critics have also questioned the quality of Canelo's recent victories. While still winning, his performances appear more workmanlike than dominant, often leaning on size and strength rather than crisp boxing. Crawford, meanwhile, brings versatility, stance switching, sharp punching, elite ring IQ, and fluid movement. Analysts argue that this wider toolkit gives Crawford the edge, even against Canelo's reputation and resume.
He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. You know, shout out to the judges. The judges make Canelo look good for the past 6 fights. And so now we sit here, you know, what is Canelo going to do against Crawford? And while some of you are saying, you know, domination and weight, really the only thing that I hear is his weight, his power, his weight, his power, his weight, his power. And that's all that he has. But when I get to talking about Crawford, we'll dive into that.
Well, to Byron's point, the last quality, super quality fight that Canelo had was against Dimitri Bivol, and we all know what happened with that. You know,
no, I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent.
Oh,
I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent.
Well, it was Caleb Plant, then it was Bivol.
Yeah, right.
Plant, then Bivol.
Well, don't forget to point out that Bivol came down, right?
No, that was 175.
Canelo went up.
Canelo went up.
So that kind of puts Canelo at a disadvantage, right? He tested.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that,
great.
if you want to say that,
I mean, you know,
I can.
But I mean, I'm not saying that that's an excuse for him for losing. I'm just saying, hey, you know, if you're gonna test yourself to be great, you gotta wear the consequences.
So let me ask. So no, you're right, 100%. But let me ask you a question. I'm just asking because I don't know. Like, so when you watching that fight, did you think it was a weight issue, or did you think it was more of a skill and boxing thing when watching that fight with Bivol and Canelo?
I thought he was outclassed.
I agree. Yeah, it was
outclassed.
And it looked like he was being outclassed by basic fundamental boxing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So that was my point. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Bivol's weight had anything to do with him, because Bivol's not a knockout artist.
And this legendary power that y'all speak of, this ass-taking Zeus god power that he has, it did not show in that.
Gabriel Rosado, however, leans toward Canelo, citing his unparalleled experience on the biggest stages. From early in his career, Canelo has faced elite opponents under intense spotlight. Crawford, by contrast, has never been in a fight of this global magnitude. Rosado respects Crawford's skills but believes Canelo's big fight experience gives him the edge.
I favor Canelo. Not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, you know, I think the skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Marjamov did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different. You know what I'm saying? So you going up 3 weight classes, because he was 47, 54, 60, 68, that's 3 weight classes. It's a major difference, man. And you know, one thing is like, right, so people are saying Canelo has problems with movers. But the reality is, Crawford's not a mover. Crawford's not a fighter that fights on his feet. in the sense of boxing, kind of like, let's say, how a Pernell Whitaker would box or how Landy Lara would box. Crawford is a fighter that works on angles. He's not on his feet like Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? He's not that kind of boxer. So he's going to be there to get hit, you know? And I feel like that favors Canelo, because Canelo's going to hit you in the arms. He's going to hit you in the elbows. He's going to hit anything you give him, he's going to take it. You know what I mean? And now, is Crawford just going to switch his style and become a mover, moving up 3 weight classes? So now you're going to put all that weight on your legs, and you never boxed like that before. How can you do that?
Showbiz the Adult introduces what he calls the Canelo May curse. He argues that Canelo often looks rusty in May fights after long layoffs, whereas September showcases his sharper form. If Crawford faces him in September, that could spell trouble. However, skeptics also point to Crawford's fight against Israil Madrimov, where his power looked less destructive and his movement less fluid at higher weight. Against a seasoned, durable Canelo, those vulnerabilities could become more pronounced. Whether Crawford can maintain his strengths against a naturally bigger opponent remains the key question, and one only the fight itself can answer.
Mexican Independence in September, and in May, he always has a bad performance called the Canelo May curse. And come September, it's a better performance. His best performances are in September because since he only fights once a year, after September, it's a long layoff until May again, which is kind of like his tune-up fight where he looks rusty. I gotta see if it's true, so I brought up the box rack and I want to go through this with you guys to see if it's actually true. Now, if it is, that's bad news for Terence Bud Crawford, right? So let's look at this. May, William Skull. We're gonna go from recent to the past. William Skull, May. We all know that was a horrible performance to the point where people think Canelo Alvarez is, you know, he's not looking right. He's finally starting to kind of go down in his abilities, right? And all those things. And this is kind of like the end of his career type of thing. He's in worse shape than Terence Bud Crawford because of this performance. And I've heard people say that before, and I'm wondering if that's every May. So, William Skull, bad performance, May. September, good performance, Edgar Berlanga. Lightning strike! Okay, y'all know that was a good performance. Everybody was excited about that fight. Jaime Munguia, May! He's been very criticized about going 12 with Jaime Munguia, right? He knocked him down, but going 12 with Jaime Munguia, and people saw that as a horrible performance from Canelo Alvarez. I actually liked that fight. They were going at it, but...
That's it for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates.